It's lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to this special edition of a special program. May 27th, the year 2021. We are broadcasting to you live from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. And of course, some of you are watching us on Topstar Decoder channel 104. Others, of course, our Facebook page, which is Ask a Movie, as well as our YouTube is also live. And also on Utunen Suna Chagwa Facebook page is also live on this program. Now, the countryside of Zambia is about 752,000 square kilometers, 10 provinces. Among them is Luapula, being at the center of discussion this evening. Luapula's main economic activities are fishing, farming, and agriculture in general, although the area is still being described as the poorest province in Zambia, according to the 2010 survey. But despite all these efforts made by various government administration, of course, many people in Zambia and Luapula, which is at the center of discussion, of course, are still lamenting about what they describe as, or they call as, under or poor development in Zambia. Today, the Patriotic Front under President Edgar Lungu are still saying, Alewerilapo Pampando, come August 12. My name is Innocent Piri. You can simply call me IP. Allow me to introduce my guest on the program, of course. His name is Honorable Ronald Chitotela, who is Pambashi parliamentary aspiring candidate, and of course is former minister of tourism and arts. Very rich political background in the program, is here to make an appearance as we go to discuss a number of issues on the program. Honorable, welcome to this special interview, and I'm glad to see you again, mostly at this time when we are into the campaigns.
Thank you, Ike. Please allow me to put off the face mask.
Please
so that we can have a good interaction.
Sound conversation
with our people. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And yes, I am Ronald Chitotela, the immediate past Minister for Tourism and Arts, and of course the immediate past Chair for CAF in Africa, and the immediate past Member of Parliament for Pambashi recontesting. And I was happy when you said, Nolu Imbati Alewere Rapopampando. I was happy yesterday when His Excellency the President did mention the origin of this song.
Yeah.
It is coming from Luapula, Pambashi constituency. And when he visited the Green 2000, our women were singing. Apakufumyapo balungu mukese na mashavyo na mapiki na masemi. Ati bachitotera na balungu balendera pamanombo mulomo wenu mulefo kubalekanya titwaka balekanya balebwerera popa mpano. It became, and I think 3-4 weeks ago he was telling me, do you know why? This song began like a joke in Luapula province. Now it is a national anthem, and we have adopted it as a campaign song. It began, and I'm proud to say that it began from my constituents.
Right.
And it is now adopted yesterday as a campaign song. All the artists, the composers are composing the campaign songs for PF around these two songs. Pakufumyapo balungu mukese na mashavyo na mapiki na masembe. Pandu yulungu alimbwa palupiringa nipamuchensenganga kale mwamulimbo.
Right.
Na mfita mrefu balebwererapo pamupando. Na ono ine mwaka balebwererapo. So that is quite encouraging and very exciting for me, and for the people of Pambashi and the people of Luapula. And yes, I am again recontesting Pambashi seat on the Mighty Patriotic Front, which is a great honor for me, for the PF again to the show of confidence that I can represent the people of Pambashi for the third time. God willing, and the people of Pambashi renewing their mandate. I think I may be breaking the record that I'll be the first person to have served thrice and in Pambashi constituency. And the level of trust by the people in Pambashi is quite humbling. And it shows that people still have trust and confidence in me and in the leadership of PF, that we continue superintending over the affairs of that constituency and Zambia in general. As you may be aware, elective position is a dispository authority that we carry from the people.
Yeah.
So we have no doubt that the people of Pambashi will again deposit the authority in Chitotela as their member of parliament and President Lungu as their Republican president.
Interesting. We shall be getting much into the details of the song Alewelela Pampando again, and you've just mentioned that that song, you know, came from your constituents, Pambashi, Luapula, in short.
Yes.
You know, this tells me that Luapula really is very endowed with a lot of potential as well as creative minds, so to mention. You know, during the conversation, I'll show you one of the video. Of course, there are some very creative young, you know, boys that compose a very wonderful song, you know, packed with information. That is all about Luapula, where you come from. That's why I think we thought of maybe bringing you on this platform just to share with us how rich that province is. Now, before we get into that issue, I want you to just share with us, because why you want the people of Zambia to again re-elect you and President Edgar Lungu back again into office to go for another term, despite the, you know, talks, much criticism from your critics that you are a team of people that have failed to run the economy, have failed to run the governance system of this nation. What gives you that courage and the hope and the confidence that you are going to be re-elected this year? Let's begin from there.
Thank you. What gives me confidence and hope that the Zambian people cannot be duped by malicious or cheap propaganda? Because they're able to see. Surely, if constructing, I'll begin as the first minister of infrastructure in Zambia. I was the first minister to walk with gumboots in Dundumwezi Karomo Road, immediately after I was appointed. Today, and I did announce that we shall do all-weather gravel road, Kalomo, Itezi, Namwala, Dundumwezi Road. Today, that road has been done. If that is failure, then it is a good failure. Connecting Dundumwezi to national grid. People that never saw electricity in Chitotela village, you can have water, a fridge. My mother, in the village called Chitotela, she has electricity. If that is failure, it is good failure. Kazungura Bridge. The time I was leaving the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, I left Kazungura Bridge at 90% completion. If connecting Zambia to the rest of the African continent to promote intertrade by constructing Kazungura Bridge, that fund is coming from two states, Zambia and Botswana. The African Development Bank funded the construction of one border facility in Zambia and Botswana. The construction of the bridge is funding from two governments, Zambia and Botswana. If that is failure, that is a good failure. If upgrading Lusaka today with overpass roads to decongest traffic is failure, then that is good failure. If recording bumper harvest and delivering fertilizer in good time is failure, then that is good failure. In 2011, when Patriotic Front took over government, we found two public universities, Copperbelt University and Yunza. Today, we have 7 universities operating, 5 new universities in 5 years. If that is failure, it is good failure. If you talk about Chingola Sorwez road, the road was pathetic. People were crying. And when I was appointed, I had this specific instruction by His Excellency the President to making sure that that road is done. By the time I was leaving the ministry, that road was completely done. If that is a failure, then that is good failure. I began, for the first time, we were given instruction to construct specialized hospital in Zambia. We began constructing Lusaka specialized hospital. It has been finished for the first time. And I remember the time when we were doing the expansion for minor so-called military hospital, upgrading it into a specialized. His Excellency the President gave me instruction. If this hospital is not finished in 3 years, you must choose work or leave. And I assured him that, sir, that will be done. You can see the military, the Mainasoko Specialized Hospital, it is one of the best in Africa, in the world. Constructing the Kalinda Walo General Hospital, in Chinsari also, Chinsari General Hospital, Levi Mwanawasa University Hospital. If you ask me, the number of district hospitals that by the time I was leaving infrastructure left, and Zambia under Link 2000, we had given ourselves to do up to 8,000 kilometers of road. By the time I was leaving, we had signed and actualized up to 7,000 kilometers of road network across the country. Zambia, Lusaka, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and phase 4, decongestion, the Copper Belt, urban roads. You talk about Kawambwa, the Mshota Ruwing Road, you talk about Chama Matumbo Road, you talk about upgrading of the Great East Road, the upgrading of the Great North Road from Chinsari to Nakonde, because those are the projects I left. We talk about the dual carriageway in Impika. We talk about the trade schools, Kalomo Trade School. We talk about the Mwense Trade School, Mpolokoso Trade School. We talk about district hospitals, Kazungura, Muntanga in Kalomo. We talk about Samfia Kawambwa. We talk about Chienga. We talk about, obviously, I cannot mention, if you talk about mini hospitals, district hospitals, you talk about the clinics, primary schools, secondary schools. By the time I was becoming a member of parliament in 2011, including Mwansabombwe, then was part of Kawambwa district. Kawambwa only had 4 secondary schools, including Mwansabombwe had Mebosho, St. Mary's, Kawambwa Boys, and Chimpempe. Chimpempe was being run by the mission in Pambashi Secondary School. The St. Mary's was being run by the Catholic in Kawambwa Center. Mebosho was run by the UCZ, the United Church of Zambia. The mission, we only had 1 government school, Kawambwa Boys Technical Secondary School. Today, if you ask, Kawambwa alone has in excess of 20 secondary schools. If that is failure, that is a good failure. And that's why I'm saying this propaganda of people saying they have failed, Zambians are able to gauge between a failure and a success. And some of these of our friends who are speaking, we served with them in government. And they sang and praised the President Lungu as a performer. Some served as ministers of finance. I know them. And there was minister of infrastructure. Today they can't stand. Some served as ministers of development planning, planning for the development of this country. What is it that they did? They were praising, celebrating, but after you part company, you want to go and insult? Morality demands that, no. The best is keep quiet. Otherwise, when you are speaking, don't forget you are speaking with people whom you served with, and they know you better. So
among the roads you just mentioned, I want us to
I haven't even gone to Mongu Karabo Road.
Exactly.
That bridge.
Exactly. So as we begin to highlight to us about the Mongu Karabo Road,
the Green 2000.
Let us also talk about
in Wapra province, the first biggest
road. I remember the bottom road, if you remember very well, yes. In 2015, about somewhere there, when President Galungu, of course, by then we had Defense Minister was Honorable Richo Siamunene,
yes,
as who was a member of Parliament for Sinazongwe.
Yes.
And during that time, he had launched the bottom road in Sinazongwe,
yes,
you know, which was earmarked for tiling and the likes.
Yes, and the contractor began.
Exactly. So that's one of the roads that I should say you felt as the party front government to succeed in that area.
No.
Was it deliberate or
no,
what happened?
What is failure? When PF had a chance to go around campaigning, we were doing what is called feasibility study.
Right.
We were understanding and analyzing the country and see how best can we develop this country. Right. And we realized that the key is connectivity, because Zambia is a landlocked, but we needed to open up the country to create so that we become a land-linked. Road network was key. It is not just Senazongwe Road.
Right.
It's not just Bottom Road. We are talking about Mansa-Kashikishi Road. We are talking about so many road projects that we began. We are talking about the Kayambi-Nseruka Road, Mpolokoso Kaputa Road, Kashikishi Chienge Runchinda Road. So many road projects. So we had not expected that Zambian economy or the global economy is going to enter into recession due to unexpected misfortunes, things like the climate change, the electricity problem, the production of copper went down. So Zambia has not been receiving revenues as projected. So you saw that a lot of government projects that we began, we had to sit down and analyze and said, okay, it is like in the house. We are not shy to tell Zambian people the truth. You are building 5 houses, and then all of a sudden your income reduces. You need to restructure, to sit down and say, oh, I cannot finish all the 5 houses at the same time. Otherwise, all the houses will just be at the rental level, and I'm going to run out of cash. I must prioritize. I must start picking one by one. If I finish this house, I'll move in that house, and then I start building another one. If I finish that one will begin giving me rentals, and then I can continue building other houses until all the projects I've embarked on are finished. This is the rationale behind restructuring or spreading of implementation of infrastructure programs. In Zambia, I was a minister. We sat down with His Excellency and we agreed to say, yes, let's identify projects according to the completion rate, according to the economic importance and the political importance, and then we began implementing them. We proposed to begin touring program in Zambia. And that's why I said, if introducing touring program is a sign of failure, then it's a good failure. When we were almost starting, had a lot of resistance, even among the civil servants. Others even called me a daydreamer. This cannot be done, but we had a very good political will from His Excellency the President. That project succeeded. Therefore, we began identifying roads of greater importance and placing them under the touring program. I signed an SI identifying 39 points of touring in Zambia. And we appointed National Road Fund Agency as a lead inland toll collector on behalf of the Road Development Agency. And we appointed RATSA as the border lead toll collector on behalf of the Road Development Agency, so that money, after they are collecting, because the toll regulations states clearly that the money that is raised from the tolling is used for road maintenance, road rehabilitation, and road construction. Then we shall begin enhancing and identifying the roads that we shall begin implementing, working on, using the money that we are getting from the road tolling. And I think that is that is the most prudent way a manager would sit down and you streamline activities, because you can't do everything. There are 2 things in management: is failure to plan, which is planning to fail. If you can't plan, then you are planning to fail. Sure. And then if you can't understand the environment in which you are operating, you are bound to fail. And then there are some people who come and say that you have not done. Instead of 10 years, PF government has implemented in excess of over 7,000 kilometers of roads in Zambia. In 10 years, we have done in excess of 7,000 kilometers of road network in Zambia. Is that failure? Ask me. How many kilometers did UNIP do, including the colonial government, in 27 years? 17,000 kilometers. Right. UNIP did, the MMD, in the 20 years they were in government, they did 2,700 in kilometers of the road network. PF, in 10 years, we've done 7,000 kilometers of road network. Sure, that is not failure. That is not how you describe a failure. Right. And you cannot say, because other projects have not been completed, then it is a failure. No, we have not abandoned the idea.
Right.
We are trying to create the resource envelope so that we can be able to raise the money and then begin slowly completing those projects that we have embarked upon for ourselves and for the people of Zambia.
Let me take you back to your constituents, which is Pambashi. We discuss in general Luapula constituents, and you've told me that the Alewere Lapu Pampando song came from Luapula province. Very interesting. But again, that is one province whose people are living in abject poverty. You know, this is despite, you know, your efforts in the last 10 years in power. Your people you can talk about Mwense, you can talk about Nilunga, you can talk about Pambashi itself. Still, the economic hardship is very immense in that area.
Thank you. And this is where we, in Luapula, we thank President Lungu. Because when President Lungu took over, when President Michael Sata took over as President of the Republic of Zambia, the least developed province in Zambia was Western Province. Sure. What President Sata did was deliberately to create more districts and do a biased program towards Western Province so that he can raise it to the level where people begin feeling their part and parcel of Zambia. In 2015, when they did economic survey, Luapula had become the least developed, less by 0.4% from Western Province. And that's where you saw President Lungu deliberately identifying two provinces, Luapula and Western Province, in order to attract investment, so that that province can begin getting up. And we are very grateful to the effort that the former minister for Luapula province also had put in by beginning promoting Luapula under the theme of Luapula Exposition. He had conducted a lot of economic forums for Luapula province, energy conferences, so that we can begin attracting investments. What have we done for Luapula the last 5 years or the last 10 years? PF has been in government. Speaking for myself and my brother Nixon Chilango, on behalf of the Patriotic Front Party and government, when we were elected, Kawambwa tea was sold to the Zimbabwean investor. And the Zimbabwean investor had abandoned the tea factory for the period until the term when we were elected. I and my brother Nixon Chilango took up that challenge and took the company to court. We represented the workers, we found the lawyers. And we won that case in the High Court. They appealed to the Supreme Court. We pursued that matter and won the case on behalf of the workers. That's how the Supreme Court made a ruling to give back the company to the workers and the state. What did the government do to invest in now in Kawambwati today? The new factory, you see, it has almost been completed because the IDC has taken over the Kawambwati. You will be seeing His Excellency the President commissioning the new factory at Kawambwati. Kawambwati now has come back to life because of the efforts of the Patriotic Front, because of the efforts of the PF government. Today we can proudly say we have a Kawambwati, the biggest forest plantation outside the Line of Rail. It's in Kawambwa. It's in Luapula province, 20,000 hectares. Zafiko in 2013. We went with the Honorable Kwanda then, who was the Minister of Finance, to launch the tree plantation for Zafiko plantation in Kawambwa. Today they've got 20,000 hectares of pine in tree that they have planted in Luapula province. Right. In the quest to raise Luapula to the standard that we begin contributing to our GDP, we move from there. Even before, Mununchi banana scheme. It was a dead industry. Today, the IDC has taken up Mununchi banana plantation. It is coming up. You talk about the biggest marine barrack in Zambia is sitting in Kawambwa with over 1,200 housing units. You talk about the Kawambwa sugar, 10,000 sugar plantation. It is in Kawambwa, in Luena Farm Block, in Pambashi constituency. You talk about Green 2000. I think you've seen it. The biggest Israeli investment in Zambia. is in Kawambo, in Pambasha constituency, in Luena Fambrock. We went further and resuscitated Chishinga Breeding Center. We have a lot of the cow now in Kawambo district, in Wapra province. We come to Mansa. You talk about Mansa sugar today. Is in Mansa, is in Wapra province, in Chembe constituency. His Excellency the President further went to launch the construction of the Bangweulu Convention Center or the Samfia Convention Center in the quest to promote the northern security in terms of the tourism activities. And the Ministry of Tourism began restocking of wildlife. Ilusenga National Park, a national park that is in Kawambwa district in Wapra province. We began the restocking program last year, and I believe that even after I've left the ministry, because we left the programs running, we'll continue, and in Sumbu National Park. I can tell you, and we have a lot of investments in terms of aquaculture industry, and the mining in terms of the manganese mining. What we did now was to also upgrade Musonda power project, even from 5 megawatts to 10 megawatts, with a view to begin promoting investment in Wapula so that we can begin setting up the industry. And the energy sector is key to the realization of that, the dream of creating Wapula that we want. As people of Wapura province, we agreed and said, can we have 2 anchor projects that is going to revolutionize the economic status of Wapura province? It doesn't matter which district they sit in. That's why you've seen Zafiko is sitting in Kawambo. Kawambo Sugar is sitting in Kawambo. The bioenergy, the cassava bioenergy is sitting in Kawambo. And we talk about the Green 2000 is sitting in Kawambo. We have Mansa Sugar in Chembe district. And we have the Bangwauru Convention Center being constructed in Samche, because we know that once in the next 5-10 years, Luapula will not be the same Luapula people are talking about. I believe and have every confidence the level of investment PF government has taken to Luapula province, Luapula in the next 5-10 years, we may rise from being the bottom, maybe to number 5 or number 4.
I'm glad that you are aware that Luapula indeed is at the bottom in terms of poverty.
Because of the negligence, because the successful government.
By government.
No, the successful government, not PF.
You're right.
PF has taken a deliberate initiative to raise Luapula out of the poverty doldrum to be an economic giant. The previous successful governments never paid attention to investing in Luapula province because they had a syndrome of saying it is a fishing province. Atibashira Vesa. Yes, Luapula is made in 2 parts. We have Luapula Valley and we have Luapula Plateau. I come from the Plateau. If you ask me, our main economic stay in Luapula Plateau, it is agriculture.
Right.
We also buy fish if you want to eat fish, the same way our brothers and sisters on the Copper Belt do. So, because there was that neglect of saying no Luapula, but until you realize the potential
of politicians, you know, where when there's a failure, they have to put a blame or pass the blame to the past administration and the likes, such that leaders don't want to own up to a problem that comes.
No, I wanted to tell you, because we were elected, PF was elected in 2011.
I can assure you, if the PF was to be kicked out of power on August 12th,
we are not losing.
I'm saying if the PF was to be kicked out of power, all right?
It is impossibility.
I get you. I'm just trying imaginations anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Don't blame my imagination.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
A different political
because
party
you have a chance to dream.
If a different political party was to come in today, then you sit, or somebody sits where you are sitting right now, you begin to query them about these issues. They would say it's because of the Patriotic Front, poor governance. This is a kind of leadership that we have in various nations, be it in Zambia as well as the African continent.
We in the Patriotic Front government, we take responsibility.
Right.
And because we believe that in Pianango, Apiana Namaval.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying we were elected in 2011.
Yeah.
And I have given you the account from 2011 to date what PF government has done.
Right.
And in responding to your query, why Luapula was not given the attention PF government has given it, I have said it's because of other successful government. Maybe they thought we were just a fishing province.
Right.
I'm saying maybe they thought, until the right people who treat everybody equal, that we shall never leave anyone behind. The same way we treat our brothers from southern, western, northwestern, eastern, Copperbelt, Lusaka, northern Muchinga. Even the people of Luapula must be treated the same. That's why we said, let's give them equal opportunity, equal investment, equity. It is the term we give those that desire more, because obviously, if you are distributing, you don't give those who have more. And if you want to raise the weak, you deliberately pay more attention to the weaker one, so that you raise them to the level where they are able to stand and sustain themselves.
I ask you
no blaming UNIP,
Honorable.
no blaming PF, no blaming the MMD,
Sure.
but I'm stating the statistics as they are. If I said, because they are superintended over infrastructure, UNIP left in 27 years 17,000 kilometers of road network in Zambia. It is fact. Because fact speaks for themselves. Numbers don't lie. MMD did 2,700 kilometers of total road network plus 4 bridges. Facts are there. They don't lie. If I tell you that today, in the past 10 years, PF has done in excess of 7,000 kilometers of road network with more than 10 bridges. Facts are there.
Indeed.
So I'm not telling at this field. So if you begin analyzing, you will be able to tell who's done more. If I said when we came as PF government, we only found 2 public universities.
Right.
Today we have 7. We've created 5 more extras that are operating.
I bring these questions, Honorable, knowing for sure that some of your people from Pambash or Luapula constituents are watching right now, and they would want to really echo with you to your sentiments that what you are telling them, what you are highlighting here is not rhetorics, but the truth. All right? During your tenure in office as Minister of Arts and Tourism, you became very, very famous because of the different youth empowerment projects that you brought on board. You know, you spearheaded at your, during your time. And more especially on the side of the artists. You know, artists went celebrating because of your leadership in terms of empowerment projects that you gave them. All right? But suffice to mention that despite that kudos on your side, there are other people that feel that you didn't do much in terms of empowering them, some artists as well. And among them, it could be the lamentations coming from Pambashi, Mwense itself. There is a team of young boys that decided to compose a very comparative song highlighting different challenges. You've talked about the Luapula Expo that was spearheaded by the former minister of Luapula province, Honorable Chilangwa himself, all right? But these young people still are arguing with you that they didn't benefit from that, you know, Luapula Expo. For them, they still believe that this project was empowered the people that were not residing in that area. I don't know if my director is ready. Yeah, that's a song actually, just a piece of it. I want to listen to that.
Never make it. Now I understand. That's why we look at this. We never go anywhere. Matutana Expo promoting Ivalupalo wapega chidilipo. Yeah. Tabasa kama na kwebalanda pena youth musafia na zandala. The way them coming in, exploring, I think they don't know anything. When them coming here with their musician, but feel kubon for why? I say no to that. No. I say no to this shit. Hey. Never. I say no to this. I say no to that shit.
Watching special interview, of course, a political advert. My guest is Honorable Ronald Chitotela, who is a Pambashi parliamentary aspiring candidate, of course, highlighting a number of achievements that have been done by the Patriotic Front and why the PF should be re-elected again. Honorable, when you listen to such a song, well composed, full of energy, the young people are reminding you that you never did much their side. And you were a man that empowered a lot of artists. I
laugh.
wonder if this young man, when I was checking, his name is Machete Jr., from the group called Kinachi.
I was smiling when I look at that.
Yeah.
Where I come from, we say insala nindi mino templiro. Insala nindi mino templiro. Okubombesha ekuchimvye insala.
Right.
Kabiri muchibemba tutira tikanye kulukungu nikutumfya omwana. Ati yabulumino okutari mukashwandina turi embuto mukafwa insala. If that group is from Mwenza,
Yeah.
you can go to Mwenza today. I can go to Luapura. Mununshi Banana State is in Mwenza just after you cross Gruminu River near Mununshi River. That plantation has been taken up by IDC. There are youths who are working there. In Mwenza alone, there are manganese mining going on. When we advertised for Artistic Empowerment Fund, there are 3 art groups in Mwenza that benefited. The immediate past Minister for Youth and Sport, if I had known, I would have come with a list of how many youth groups that have benefited from the youth empowerment.
Right.
But of course, in every society, there will be those who always be who may not be satisfied, and that is part of their human rights, and it is democracy, and that's the beauty about the democracy, because you listen even from the list, even from the voice, you must be able to pick something. If the younger ones, and then I usually say this, governance and activism are 2 different things. You don't govern by being an activist. Governance has procedures and processes that you need to follow. When you are politicking outside as opposition, you can do anything. After you form government, there is a procedure, you are kept in check. Money that goes out for empowerment are public money. They are not political money. You don't give anyhow. You give to people that are ready to take up the mantle of empowering themselves, liberate themselves out of that abject poverty. One, Kings Malembe alimba ngana unya ntapamunga ntaunya ntwikepo nitaule kulasa ngana wikala mu buchushita ufumine mu nitaule chula. You must be able to reach a point of saying enough is enough, this I must be able to liberate. There are youths in Mwense who are in fish farming. There are youths in Ncherengo who are doing goat rearing and fish farming. And of course, in every society,
There will be others that will be
activists. There will be activists who do think the Luapula Exposition Conference. It is to get the money and start distributing to every citizen of Luapula province. No, it is creating economic opportunities for people to emancipate themselves.
As a leader,
attracting investment. Yes.
You pay attention to such kind of activists when they
compose
such kind of a song. Because
we get the message.
I can assure you that in every society, like you mentioned, there will be that frustrated team that is going to sit, and instead of coming to or going on the street to protest, they'll just sit and compose a song, trying to convey a message. So
Chara was one of them.
Do you
Yes, we do.
pay attention? When you pay attention, and you try to invite them on board, and at least try to understand their reasoning. Say, gentlemen, we listen to your song. What are the issues?
Yes. And I think
Because this group I'm talking about, I think they did another song which has now been mistakenly, because of the elections, I want to believe, that was, I think, last week about somewhere there. They've done another song, which the opposition, because of the message which is there, they have capitalized on that and begin to shoot at you, the people that were in power, and that are, again, advocating to go back to government. But for this group, it's not about campaign song, because they've been singing for a long time, and their music has been very consistent. It's about highlighting the challenges, the problems that the people of Zambia are facing.
I agree with you that I am a firm believer that when a child is crying, you need to listen to the child. Maybe the child may be stepping on the needle. And that's why I said, ingana wikala mubuchushi ta ufumine moni ta ule chola. Ngana unyanta pamunga ta wiminepo. Mwanako, abantu bamakuti mwamupera PK Chishala, as you said, had sung a lot of songs. And when governments then picked and implemented, a lot of lives were transformed. People today speak through proverbs, through innuendos, through so many ways of communicating. As government would pick and begin analyzing, a good criticism that entails the improvement of the living standards of the citizen of the country, we pick and begin implementing. And that's why some of the programs you've seen, it is this government, after a long time, that has been running internship program. That internship program had completely died, but government has revived as a way of keeping our young ones busy. But of course, in every society, there will be those that would just want you to go and give them in their hands. But we will not throw them. We will try to educate them to say, Mwana, insala, kubombesha, ekuchimvye insala. You will not be in the street singing, even my artist. The people I celebrated very well with, they must sit in the studio. And that's why we call it the knowledge industry. They produce, because that is business, and they begin selling music that is appealing. If you are communicating, you communicate a message. But because of politics, and because in Zambians, as FTJ once said, they don't stop politicking from the one after election until to the next election. There are those who are just scheming to kick you out so that they can be members of parliament. They'll group the boys, give them 2 kwacha and say, do this, so that they'll say, this is what the people want. But when you understand and get down to the people, you ask them. And the people will say, what we wanted is this. The people of Pambasho who elected me told me they wanted good road network. We've provided. They wanted employment. We've created Green 2000. We've taken in the marine barracks. We've resuscitated the Kawambwa tea estate. We have started the Kawambwa sugar. We've started the bioenergy. If you ask me, I'll take you to say, this is the cassava bioplantation done by, here it is. You want to see Green 2000? I can take you there and I'll tell you, this is Green 2000. You want to sing the Kawambwa tea? If I wished, because at home now I'm drinking Kawambwa tea, I should have brought you some packs of refined Kawambwa tea.
We have to go and get that.
Those things are there. Because, look, development are tangible. Development are tangible. You cannot lie. You cannot cheat people to say there's Kawambwa tea if there is no Kawambwa tea. Because the people will go there and say, fake. You can't say we have 20,000 hectares of pine tree in Kawambwa under Zafiko. Zafiko will say, but if you are keen follow the Northern Security News, I was seeing even the other 2 days ago, showing the young manager who's managing the Zafiko plantation.
Just like Honorable someone here is arguing with you, allow me just to read the one text here that is, I think, very important because it needs your response. Someone is saying that Honorable Chitotela, kindly stop mentioning Northwestern Province. You have done nothing. Just one example, your master ECAO came to Solowezi in 2015 and did a groundbreaking ceremony for the Solowezi Central Township roads. To date, nothing has been done, and yet you are there lying to the public.
I am married from Northwestern Province, and surely, if I can ask my in-laws in Northwestern Province, did Solowezi have a dual carriageway before PF? A third dual carriageway? That bridge at the minister's compound, was that bridge there? Is that a lie? Haven't we done Chingola Solowezi Road? Is that a lie? If somebody calls and said you are lying, Abena Zambia, Busheta Bamwene, Chingola Solowezi Road, Yari, Pona Solowezi Town, Ukufika na Ukia Wama Kodia. There's a dual carriageway. Ushebufi. Am I lying? So you are able to tell who's being malicious and politicking between me and the send of that message, because I said Chingola Solowezi Road has been done successfully. At the time I was a Minister of Infrastructure, and we successfully did that. I began township roads in Mwinilo. The time I was leaving the ministry, I had done over 5 kilometers of township roads in Mwiniro. It's fact.
Right.
There are people in Mwiniro who can agree with me. I went to inspect the township roads under the company called Nakange. I'm able to remember the local contractor who was doing township roads in Mwiniro.
Right.
I am able to say that China Joe, a company that was doing Chingola Sorwezi Road, even did a dual carriageway in Chingola town and a bridge. Is that a lie? If it is a lie, then the people will be able to tell. I think you've been to Sorwezi, so you should be able to tell who's lying between him and myself.
Let's now talk about the campaigns. I know that we're in the midst of the campaigns, and of course, yesterday, was it on Wednesday, ECL officially commissioned the official campaigns for the Patriotic Front. But again, very important message was given whilst he was addressing the congregation, where he instructed the police officers to ensure that they contain the pressure that comes about with the people that would want to gather in large masses, you know. And you are a politician, you know, who is followed. Each time you make a move, you go to Pambashi, people just follow in huge numbers. Aren't you affected with that? How do you make the position by ECL to ensure that the police pounces on anyone who is going to assemble people in large numbers?
I agree with the boss. As you are a leader, he's the president. His constitutional mandate is to preserve and protect the property and preserve the lives of Zambian people. Right. He saw by defending the constitution. And the president's statement was, you will not expect those fancy big rallies.
Sure.
Because those are super spreaders. And it's fact. What will it profit a man to win the whole world and then you lose your own soul? You may think the COVID-19, because you are a member of parliament or you are a presidential candidate, it may not affect you, it will affect your followers. And not if it affects you. You know what happens to your followers? So as we are analyzing, we must also look at from both sides of the coin. If I go to Kabanse Ward, I will address the people in Kabanse Ward in that ward. I go to Irombe Ward, I'll go and address the people in Irombe Ward in that ward. Then after I leave, my people, the teams we are working with, who now carry on to start visiting people and start explaining. How will it profit me to bring the whole Pambashe 10 wards in one area and have one big run? It is not even effective. Yes, it is cost efficient, but it is not effective because it's not everybody. If you look at Ilombe Ward, the center for Pambashe and Chimpiri, they are about 170 to 200 kilometers. It's not all the people who come. But if I go to Chimpiri Ward, meet the people of Chimpiri in Chimpiri, conduct the meeting there, I leave them in Chimpiri. And then the teams in Chimpiri continue to interact with them. I come to Luongo Ward. I address the people in Luongo Ward. The president directed, according to the statutory instrument on COVID-19, we must be able to adhere to the regulations as set out by the Ministry of Health and as guided by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I come to Kaunda Square there and then I call Lusaka, come, I'm addressing a rally. Others are coming from different directions. That would be a super spread. But if I were a member of parliament or an aspiring candidate in one of the constituencies in Kitwes, say, for example, in Nkana, if I go to Kamakonde Ward, I'm going to address the people of Kamakonde. If I go to Misesh Ward, I'll go and address the people of Misesh. If I go to Rokana Ward, I'll go and address the people in Rokana. If I go to Nkana Ward, I'll go and Parklands Ward, I'll go and address the people in Parklands. I cannot go to Freedom Park and call everybody. Then I'm not being sensitive to the lives of the people that I'm leading.
Of course, your competitors, they seem to be very upset with you, that directive coming from the president.
As the president stopped them visiting their wards.
Because they feel
as
that
the president stopped them visiting branches.
Disadvantage them in
How?
terms of holding public rallies.
Have they allowed Chitotela to call a public rally in Mushota?
People are now insinuating that you did your campaigns. In fact, you were campaigning at a time when COVID-19 was at peak, phase 1, was very at peak. But some of your members were moving up and about campaigning. People like Honorable Boma Nusambo was all over
Visiting projects and campaigning are two different things. Inspecting government projects and campaigning are two different things. Government will not stop functioning as government because ministers are not there. His Excellency the President and the PSs will continue. If President Lungu goes to Pambashi to go and commission Green 2000, because he's state president, a lot of people will be excited to see him. They go to see him. Are you going to tell him that as campaigning? His Excellency the President stopped super spreaders, super rallies. I think you know them. I remember in Mandevu, he would call the whole Lusaka would assemble there. Those obviously. In Bemba we say, we need to be sensitive to the plight of other people. You cannot say they are not happy with us. As the President said, the opposition candidate in Pambashi, you will not go to Kabanse to address a meeting in Kabanse, what? No.
I'm sure you've heard these critics, right?
As he told them not to go
to social media, others have gone on radio,
what he has stopped
expressing concern.
Is super
Others are saying
spreader.
you are using now the police to,
He has the power. Look, the Zambian constitution empowers the president to decree. And he has said he can read the situation and said, for the good of the Zambian people, within the constitution, he has not done this outside the law. Let's adhere to the COVID regulations. Look, in fact, it is even cost effective. Because if I were a member of parliament in Lusaka Central, how would be with 5-10 people, we go to Bauren and we are going to hold a meeting with the people of Bauren. I move from Baulen, I come to North Mid. I'm going to hold a meeting with the people at North Mid. I go to Long Acres. I'm going to meet the people who stay in Long Acres. That is, unless if he had said, no, stop visiting, stop this, but he has directed that don't hold those big fancy rallies.
We're at a time, Honorable, where it's like we've got people that think too much nowadays. And you can't stop people from speculating. If they are aggrieved, they have to speak. Because even just that pronouncement from the president of instructing the police officers or appealing to the police officers to ensure that they contain the pressure from politicians like you, that carry the masses. All right. Others are saying it was wrong for the president to order or to issue such kind of a statement whilst he was addressing a political event, an internal event, because he is a head of state. He should have maybe...
He ceased to be president at that point?
Perhaps, I'm just conveying the message from the general public. I'm sure you've heard these comments. Others even had different press briefings to say you cannot issue such kind of a directive or government policy when you are in a party regalia. Of course, people could be thinking those lines, but what do you think from your side? Are they being genuine, those concerns?
Look, you said very well in your opening that people think too much.
Exactly.
And I was listening to one lawyer, Munsha, who said, you don't go for extreme intelligence and thinking. Go for a reasonable way of doing things. As a lay person, with my understanding, President Lungu is state president. Whether he's at Inkwazi, he's state president. Whether he's in State House, he's state president. Whether he's at PF Secretariat, he's state president. That's why he moves whenever he is with the instruments of power. Right. He's addressing a political rally, you see the orange flag, the instruments of power. He's state president. Any statement he says is policy. Right. He is state president, and even our friends who are desirous of becoming president, how do you, even when he's eating, he's state president. He is president of the state. He has the state power, and he can direct according to the constitution, not outside the constitution mandate, according to the constitution and according to the law. Right. You remember even in his pronouncement, he cited the COVID-19 regulations, and he said, as president, I care about Zambians, not just Zambians in PF, even in opposition, no mbanga fira basata balera uko kwino kuti mwairo boncha abantu balwala covid bafu ero waisa aba president ukateka ba ukube mfumu kano pali abale ekwita ukukwate eshinaike unless somebody is calling me Chitotela tetube omuntu tetube intungulushi ngata pali abale ekwita utungulushi ingani webo yaikata covid na barabe nole tungulu na bena ukabashanga file chemba cheba tinkoma kachema inempanga shikasalanga. You leave your followers without a leader. So we need to measure and say, yes, His Excellency the President has not stopped rallies. The campaigning, he has stopped super rallies, big rallies that are a super spread. Today I was listening to the news, even Secretary to Cabinet has gone further to reintroduce the work schedule. If the public service, and they're encouraging the private sector to follow suit, can begin implementing that for the good of the Zambian people, for the good of the health of the workers. Surely, why should we as politicians be the only ones who must be exempted from the laws and regulations? No. The law of law states all of us are under the law, and we must be able to respect the law regardless of whether I agree with it or not. Because the same bad law, if you don't agree with it, it will land you in problems.
The 5 minutes remaining, Honorable, we are going to end on this note. I understand that President Edgar Lungu has nominated Professor Nkanluo as his running mate. And I'm sure you are aware, the day when he unveiled Professor Nkanluo, there were a lot of comments, be it on social media, there were a lot of comments on radio, TV. Those were comments of voices of resistance over the nomination of Professor Nkanluo, if you read them.
Unless who?
If I'm saying those were comments of resistance.
Against unless who?
You have to answer that question.
No, it is.
All right? Now, perhaps those comments again might be, those feelings could be again maybe the same among some people in the patriotic front that might not really voice out. I watched one young man actually on Elas Musha's live broadcast on Facebook, where he was asked to say, did you expect Professor Nkanluo to be nominated as running mate to ECL? And he was very much categorical. He's a PF member. Chomba, it should be Chomba, something like that. He said, no, I didn't expect that. And I'm shocked. It was, according to him, he feels that the president could have done better. Did you expect that from him?
Look, one thing you must understand. The prerogative of appointing the running mate is a presidential prerogative. He picks a person whom he feels he'll be comfortable to work with. And number two, Professor Nkanluo is the first female Zambian African to become a professor. Only those achievements we must be able to give the credit. The president has so many things to put into consideration. So many things. When I was appointed Minister of Infrastructure, it's because I'm not engineer. Sure. A lot of people resisted. A lot of people resisted and said, Chitotela is going to fail. Did I fail? No. According to people's analysis, they've told me I did extremely very well. When I was transferred to tourism, a lot of people expected I would fail. Did I fail? No. So at what basis are they going to judge Professor Luo that she's not competent or she's not the right person? Based on what? And the question you should have asked those who are doubting, you should have asked them, unless who? And I think the president had made it very clear. He said it was his choice.
To say,
your choice is not my choice.
has got issues with the students, the youths, the closure of universities.
I think you heard.
These are the submissions coming from
I think you heard even from Antonio Mwanza yesterday.
Yeah.
A minister cannot close the university. It is provided for in the law. The circumstances in which a university must close. A minister can't just wake up and say, I'm closing the university. No, it will be ultra-virus against the law. The law provides these are the circumstances in which a university would close. And Professor Luo If you checked, the time she was minister, she did the best. She introduced the loan facility. You've seen that. That has been extended to so many universities and colleges who are not benefiting from the government in treasure. And if you talk about hard work, surely hard work you don't take away from Professor Lu. Right. The Professor Lu, she's a renowned and very strong woman, a strong-rooted spirit, and she loves saying she has no negative energy. Right. She wants positive energy, things that add value to people's lives.
I want us to close, but I'll give you just less than a minute. You look into that camera and sell yourself why the people of Pambashi constituents, they should again vote for you.
Abena Pambashi cho bafiro kunsalira mukwaye naba munefe tuchitire okupitira muri wa President Lungu okushara ya malaiti lero kuri ya malaiti. The biggest farm in Zambia is in Chishinga, Luena Farm Block. We have Kawambwa Sugar. We have Mkwaina ba manganese by Tampo Kwimba. Amaskuru. Ama mini hospitals. We have 3 mini hospitals in Pambashi. We have clinics. I found 0 secondary school, have built and opened 5 secondary schools, so many primary schools, clinics, and we have done 2 police posts. The 10 years I've been a minister, I think, a member of parliament for Pambashi. Ana muishiba mkwae. Akamana kalaventulo, kala kama. Ndefo ya ntubombele pamo kwebati, ichishinga, ichalo chesu, ilo tukafumaponga filelionse nanda. Abantu bakalanda tukwali abaume, because urusakata luwaponene kumulu. Na luari in village Rusaka. And I believe that one day Pambashi can be a capital city of Rusaka. Together we can build and transform Pambashi. This is a commitment to you, and this is a commitment to the people of Pambashi, that I will provide leadership of service above self. Leadership of a candle that burns itself in order to give light to others. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable. We appreciate you for coming for this program. I know that you are one of the, I think, very courageous people that are always want to face the camera, no matter the difficulties. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. Dear viewers, we end our discussion here. My guest has been Honorable Ronald Chitotela, who is a Pambashi aspiring member of Parliament, and of course, as they continue singing that their favorite song called Alewe Rapo. Let's continue monitoring, and let's see what the people of Zambia are going to decide come August 12, 2021. My name is Innocent Piri. I appear on behalf of my producer, Mavuto Piri, as well as camera person, Christopher, and the entire production team upstairs. Thank you so much. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.
At the left, right, at the left.